So augmented reality continues to be challenged in gaining consumer traction, but there are some bright spots. For example, traction and revenue continue to gain momentum in mobile AR. But that's really a stepping stone to acclimate consumers and developers towards AR's fully actualized self, which of course is Headworn. So where are we in that progression and what's the revenue outlook? Artillery Intelligence's latest revenue forecast dives into Headworn AR and all of its subsegments. So what did we find out? At a high level, global Headworn AR revenue will grow from 1.59 billion US dollars last year to 17.7 billion in 2025. Now that sum consists of consumer and enterprise spending, the latter holding a commanding share in early years. Now further subdividing the spending is hardware and software, and there hardware leads in early years, but we project software to outpace it over time. And that happens as a larger installed base of in-market hardware accumulates and as software average revenue per user grows. And that's a common pattern for emerging consumer technology, which we saw in the smartphone's early days. So starting with that hardware base, we project AR headsets to grow in unit sales from about 250,000 last year to just over 4 million in 2025, which will represent an installed base of almost 8.53 million units at that time. And that's steep growth, but to put that into perspective, that outer year figure is still dwarfed by the global smartphone installed base by about 420 to 1. Now, as far as revenue share, enterprise exceeds consumer spending as noted, and that's driven by a strong ROI case for AR-guided productivity and planning. And a lot of that is also driven by the US Army's $22 billion contract with Microsoft for battle-grade HoloLens units. But consumer spending will actually catch up in later years, partly because consumer markets are generally larger than enterprise markets based on population sizes. And in this case, that consumer spending will be accelerated by improving technology, consumer acclimation, and the wild card that is Apple's projected market entrance. So we project Apple's smart glasses to hit the market in late 2022 or 2023, which could create a classic Apple halo effect that raises all boats by acclimating consumers and stimulating demand. And that includes AR glasses themselves and the software-based experiences that run on those glasses, which will include a wide range of use cases like gaming and education, utilities, and media and commerce. Now, notably, this could contrast mobile AR consumer spending, which is dominated today by in-app purchases, due partly to a gaming bent. But AR glasses software could conversely include a mix of premium apps and recurring content subscriptions and even some advertising. And a lot of this will likely be defined by Apple in terms of the software marketplaces it creates, just like it's done in mobile. And it's already sort of laid the tracks with ARKit pursuant to its signature vertical integration. So that just scratches the surface, and you can see more in the full report. But one note in closing, sticking with Apple, is the question of what will its smart glasses be and do. And there are several signs that they'll be a lighter form of AR than what we see in devices like Magic Leap 1. And they sort of have to be to reach the size and weight requirements for mass market adoption, which is essentially a prerequisite for Apple. But despite that lower tech orientation, the device itself will likely have appeal in meaningful experiences that integrate elegantly with other Apple hardware for a sort of holistic wearable suite that augments reality from several angles. It's a classic Apple ecosystem play. And that light AR approach that prioritizes wearability and integration as opposed to a specs arms race could be the model that we see take over. And it also could be like the iPhone 1 that then beefs up its capabilities over several years.